I'm here with Jacqueline Way, CEO of 365. Jacqueline has had just shy of 6 million views of her TEDx 365 on YouTube. Her talk is exhilarating. And with a new project in the works, we will talk about that. Hello, Jacqueline.
Good morning. I'm so
Good
happy to be
morning.
here with you today. We made it work.
Yay, and we've got snow, Colorado. So I
You
do see
have
my
snow
picture
and
of Colorado.
we have spring behind us. My daffodils are just coming up. So I'm
Mhm.
sorry you're still in the snow.
Oh, so I would love to hear just a little bit of background. When you started this incredible journey and you incorporated your son, this is, oh, it thrills me. I don't have children, but when I hear women incorporating their children into their business, that is heartwarming and it educates. So please tell us.
Thank you so much. Well, 365 Give, I always tell my son, was actually inspired by him. And as a parent, and I'm sure many people will resonate with this, our children are our greatest teachers. Not in animals, because I know animals are
The
in there,
animals
but I
are too, believe
know
me.
they are our greatest teachers as well. And, I am a blessed parent that I'm actually an adoptive mother of three beautiful boys now. And my first son, Nick, he inspired in me probably what I didn't see in myself. But my simple goal as a parent was I wanted to grow a kind, compassionate, loving little human being. But what I understand and what I know is that in our world today, that can be a challenging job for a lot of people and a lot of parents for what our children
Yes,
are exposed to.
yes.
So I made a really clear decision, and on his third birthday, we started a project together. And I know that children's best time of learning is under the age of 5, because
Yes,
at that point they haven't had the influences of
very
school yet. They
primitive.
haven't had the influences of lots of different social
Mhm.
circles, all of those things.
And it
And they're
influences their entire life.
right, and their brains are at their best. It's like you're programming them before they go out into the world. So we started this project, and we were going to do one thing to give back to the world every day for 365 days. Obviously, at the age of 3, he didn't have a full understanding of that. So I really took the time to break it down with him and just said, we're going to do one thing to be kind and loving and caring of people around us, of the animals in our world, and of our planet. Because really, this had to be so simple, a 3-year-old could do it.
Right.
And so we started,
And
and we
for the
made
rest of
sure,
us adults.
and that was never the goal when I started. It was really about my 3-year-old. And so we started with the really simple things in our life that we potentially would be doing every day. When we went out for walks, we picked up garbage. When we were at home, we would make sure that we would do something specific for our neighbors. Even if it was baking cookies together, we'd go take some over to our neighbors. If
How
we
about
were
you, my
gardening,
neighbor?
I'm not the best cookie maker, but
Just no
that's the
sugar, please.
intention. If we were gardening, cutting the grass, the things we would do normally, we would make sure we extended that a little further. If the garbage men were coming down the lane, every 3-year-old loves the garbage truck coming, we would make them a little thank you card, and we would give it to them as they would come down the lane in the morning. My son loves animals, as most children do. So we took one day all of our old towels and blankets, and we went down to our local animal rescue shelter.
Right.
And that was such a beautiful connection for him there, because at our shelter locally, not only can we obviously make a donation, but we could actually spend time as our volunteer job. You can go into the room with the cats and just spend time with them, cuddling with them, playing with them. And my son loved to do that one. And so he really started to make that connection that the blankets and towels he saw in these little playrooms with the cats, well, that's what our donation was going to do. It was going to make beautiful, comfortable places for them to lie and sleep. And you could literally see in his brain these little neural connectors going off, going, wow, this
Oh,
is what we're doing, mommy. And so it was a really beautiful journey for us. And what I did for our journey, because I kind of announced this to all of our friends and family, we were going to do this. They all thought I was a little crazy,
mhm.
but that's okay. So I decided to start a blog around our journey, because my hope was that if one person read it within my circle of friends and family, that it may just inspire them to go out and do something as well. Well, the remarkable part of the journey is it did. And it inspired a lot of other people all over the world.
You've inspired a lot of schools also. Can you give
We
us
have. And that was the fun
an
part of the
idea?
journey. Yeah, that I never expected was after our 365 days of giving. A couple of things I always like to share that I didn't share in my TED Talk is on day 365 was the day our second adoptive son came home on my son's 4th birthday. So when they say, when you give openly from your heart with no expectation of anything in return, wonderful things will come back. And that was the day my second son came home, on day 365 of our journey, which we had no control of. That's just that's out of our control. And very shortly after that, I had a friend call me who was a school teacher, and she said, I want to bring the 365 give concept into my classroom. How can I teach this to my children? And I really didn't know. I wasn't a teacher. I said, let's sit down and talk about this. And so we would literally sit down at a park with our children as they played. We would talk about this, and we came up with an idea how we could empower children in a classroom to choose how they wanted to give, because that was what I found the power was, is when I asked my son how he wanted to give, it empowered him to really want to go out and do it. And so we created a school program that to date has now been implemented in over 400 schools globally around the world. If you had asked me that then, I would never have thought. And we have been able to take what we have learned through our journey, through the people that have reached out to us through the TEDx talk, and we've created a platform where everyone in the world can join us. Because as you said from the beginning, it's so simple. A 3-year-old can do it, but it's actually for everyone.
Well,
Because
and when you say it is so simple, and you mentioned the garbage truck and the animal shelters, they are so absolutely appreciative. And this is something I used to do for my mailman when I had my Victorian. Every year for Christmas, I would bake him cranberry bread. It was all fresh, and I'd give him a bottle of wine. And then one year, he stopped me. He started crying. He says, you're one of 2 people that ever give any gratitude. And he says, I look forward to this cranberry bread. He says, I'm crying because I'm being transferred to another area.
oh,
And I never knew. I just thought, here, I always gave to kids that worked for me. But the gratitude I saw, and the sadness also, that what impacted me was people do not give that appreciation to people that are there serving you all the time. And it's absolutely necessary. So your project is, it warms the heart.
thank you. Thank you. Well, it came from a place of heart. It has
It
grown very organically. And, the TEDx talks, I always say, is on the wings of angels. And we never anticipated that. The simple goal of the TEDx talk was to share our story, to inspire one. That was my simple goal. If I could inspire one person to give in their life, that was really my simple goal of that talk. And the fact that
Well,
we have
you're
had
inspiring almost 6 million with your YouTube.
well, and like I said, on not was never my goal, not my job, but we know that when you have the ability to touch one person, that creates the change that we all want to see in the world. Because if I've inspired one person, they in then turn, the happiness comes from their heart. They in turn spread that to everybody in
It's
their life.
infectious.
And that's the ripple effect that everybody talks about with
It's
giving and
infectious, just like
kindness.
a smile that you don't expect. Just
And
a
totally
smile just
perfect way to
moves.
give. Yeah, well, giving
Yes.
scares some people. They think when you talk about giving, you have to give money and you have to give, it's only for the wealthy, and I can't do that. I don't have anything to give. But we have to remember that giving is really something that comes from our heart.
Right.
I always like to
And
think
can
of
be
it
very,
as,
very simple.
yes, it's love in action, and that's just putting what's in your heart into action through your
And we need
hands.
it so badly these days.
And we need it so badly these
Okay.
days. Yeah,
I do.
I like to say that we should make our world that our new normal should be giving
Mhm.
every day, because that's the world that we can create together.
Right. Now, you are on a huge project, and I want to hear more about it and let us know who can tune into this and when.
Mhm. Well, as we say, giving is for everyone. So we, every year on April, this year it's April 21st, we do a campaign and it's called Do One Give Day. And it's an extension of what we do because really we're just trying to ignite the spirit of giving in people across the world. We've been very blessed that this is actually
Worldwide.
our, yeah, this is our
Is it
third
worldwide?
year. This is this is our third year of our Do One Give Day campaign. It's all run by volunteers. 365 Give is a charity. It's a volunteer-run charity with just people that are working on it from their hearts. So we have a great reach. We've inspired with our Do One Give Day campaign over 120,000 small acts of giving.
Oh,
This year,
my
obviously, we're
goodness.
hoping to double that. But
Oh,
what we know is everyone that participates, and it's so simple that we always say it takes 1 minute and your phone.
right.
And so the simple concept is that on Do One Give Day, you do something small to give and you
Mhm.
share that story. And people always say, well, why do you need to share your giving stories? And you'll love this because I know your neuroscience background and brain. But what most people don't know is we have these really amazing parts of our brain. Um, and they're called mirror neurons. And so it's when you go to, let's say, social media or something on TV, that's feel good. You see people giving, you see those kindness stories. It makes you feel good. And in turn, will spark something in you to turn around and do the same thing. So we should say, share your stories on social because we're going to start to spark those mirror neurons and your daily dose of happiness, as we call it, all those good feeling chemicals in our body, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, your endorphins, and it will
Yes.
inspire and make other people feel happy and inspire them
Mhm.
to give. So this is really all of our opportunity to use our voice, use our social platforms to spread the good in the world, to create
Well,
this new normal that we want to create by just sharing your simple acts of giving. It can be in a photo, it can be in a video, it can just be in a text. And it's your chance to do what I do and inspire other
what I
people to give.
see, it also right now inspires people to live,
Mm.
concentrating on living and being more creative.
Mm-hmm.
And how can we live larger than what has happened in the last year? How
Absolutely.
can we bring forth this wonderful smile to people or just a moment? What can we do for someone? I saw someone drop a cane and I immediately picked it up and I said, oh, can I walk you out to your car? And the smile and the relief that I saw in this person's face, it's not something I'm going to tell them because this is my background, but the relief I saw that someone was that kind to take time out of their day. So, how are people going to be able to tune into this wonderful project?
Well, the great thing about it is you can do it on any of your social handles, except TikTok. I am not a TikTok dancer, so I'm sorry we're not there. But literally, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and all you need to do is use the hashtag Do One Give. You can tag us so that we can
Could
follow
you
along with your
repeat that one more
stories.
time? Do
Absolutely,
one
it's
give. Now, is that a
hashtag
number?
it's the number one. So it's DO number one GIVE.
Mhm.
And you can also tag us at 365 Give on those social handles because
And when
what
does
we
this
will
start?
be doing, I say giving's for every day.
I do too, but
Yeah.
this is a
Our goal
project.
is April 21st. If it's the day before, it's the day after, it doesn't really matter. It's
Uh-huh.
the intention behind it.
Mhm.
We set a day because what we know is when you bring people together all in one day and you're putting that energy out from your heart, it increases the energy of the world. And we always say that. It's like a peace walk. It's like people sitting and doing a global peace meditation. It actually changes the energy of the world. So that's why we choose one day to do it. And it's fun to watch all of those stories come up on social. You can search the hashtag Do One Give and
Yes,
you will see them. We'll be
makes you
sharing those
smile.
stories. Completely. And so it's just our day to all come together. I think we forget at the beginning of COVID a year ago when the world was locking down, the beautiful stories that were coming out. People in Italy playing music on their balconies. We all came out and banged our pots. We went to grocery stores and stood outside them together and thanked the grocery store workers. And I see that already changing, that we're forgetting to do that already. You know, they are still the essential workers. There's so many out there that are still saving lives, that are
Yes.
putting themselves at risk, that still have not been vaccinated yet. And we still need to celebrate those people and not forget
Yes, you
that
do.
they put their lives on risk when we all stayed home, terrified to leave our homes. And I want to bring that spirit back, so that we don't forget those beautiful moments that our news feed was showing us and we shared,
It's
because we
time to
forgot
really
those.
focus on that again. Be
Absolutely.
conscientious
It's time every
creative.
day to focus on that, because that's the news we need to be absorbing. Those are the algorithms we want to see in our
Yes,
feeds,
we want to see it in
because
our brain and our bodies also.
exactly, it's that repetitive good news stories that we need to hear. And for all of us that have our social circles, I don't care if it's 10 people or it's 1 million people on your social platforms or within your circles, or just the people that you're even sharing with, having calls like this, or your friends on Zoom, to have these conversations is how we all take that step to be the inspiration. I'm no different than anybody else. I was just brave enough to share it. And so we're just asking everybody else, be that person to inspire the people around you now,
Yes,
because we all have
absolutely.
that in us.
So anything for our last notes as far as inspiring, bringing joy to other people, or if contacting someone you have not contacted and saying, how are you doing? I wish for you joy. Or what are these wonderful little snippets that we can take away?
Well, you know, definitely we know that that's one of them right now, as many of us are still physically apart. You know, it's the small things every day that that you can do. Could you, once you've gotten up in the morning, and actually I should say this first, we always need to remember that giving starts with all of us first. So
Oh,
before you start
good
your
point.
day and get out there and give, make sure you've given yourself time. Make
Can
sure
you give
you've
us some examples? Because this is very
absolutely,
difficult for most of us.
for most of us, and especially parents, business women,
Mhm.
you know, we all work so hard and we get up running with our to-do list every day. But if you could book in a block of time for yourself, and you need to find what works for you. For me, it's a small few minutes of meditation. It's stepping out into my garden and listening to the birds wake up with me in the morning. It's exercise for me. I book that
Mhm.
time out. Um, and it's taking the time to fill myself. I will find, you know, my YouTube is filled with inspirational things, my feed, that I know will start my day off on the right foot. So if it's your inspirational spiritual leaders that you need a message from, if it's music is a big one for me, I'll get out of bed and put music right into my ears to
Yes,
get,
music on the mind, and I'm right there
yeah,
with Oliver Sacks, and he was a great neuroscientist and psychiatrist who I've studied a great deal. Unfortunately, he's no longer alive, but I'm glad he had 11 books. Uh, but music on the mind is an excellent way. Also, meditation, and then getting into your workout, whether that's morning or afternoon, taking care of yourself, having
absolutely,
those good foods feed your body. There's so many
absolutely,
little things that we forget, and I'm adamant about this regimen for ourselves.
absolutely.
And also,
Oh,
I grab my animals and I give them a big kiss.
absolutely. That's your oxytocin hit. Well, once you have taken that time, and listen, it took me a decade to be able to do this as a mom and to realize I needed to
With
do it for
children.
my own mental health.
Mhm.
And listen, I have to book out the time. Like when I book out the time, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do this, because
Whoa.
that's, I know, my time in the day. It's not for everyone, but you find and schedule
You
in
find
that
your
block of
time.
time,
You find your
and you
right
train your
time.
children that
Yep.
this is mommy's, you know, train whoever you need to train in your life. And as businesswomen, this may be training your team, as well, that this is my space. Don't interrupt me during that space.
Right.
Because when you make that time for yourself, that's when you become, you know, a term we're all talking about now, a conscious leader. You are
Yes.
consciously taking care of yourself first so you can take care of everybody
And
around
turn
you.
off the cell phone.
All of it, right? completely.
Turn off the cell
Don't be
phone. Mine goes
distracted. You
off
have to be.
automatically at 8:30 every night.
Exactly. So that's what I always say, start with yourself first. When your cup is full, then you have lots to give to others. And then it's simple, really. Send a text, check in with a friend, send a note of gratitude to somebody via text. I send out little fun gifts to friends that I know just need to know that I'm thinking about them and I love them. If that's all I can do in a day, that's perfect. That's all you need to do. It's not about not doing enough, which most of us take that place, even myself in the world, is, I know I can't solve world hunger, but I know that if I could feed one person, that's a starting place.
Well, you've
I
given
know it's those little things that when we all do it, that's when we solve the big problems in our world. And it comes from that space. It's all of us doing one small thing. 7 billion people, we've actually solved the big problems in the world. Pick up garbage, climate change. If we all picked up garbage every day, we would no longer have a garbage problem. It's all of those little things.
I'm very much a recycle person. Well, you've
Yes, I
given us
recycle
many,
everything.
many tidbits to follow through with. And this is what I'm so grateful to you for, because you very innovative, but it's simple. It's very, very simple.
Well,
And
and we can all
that's
do this
simplicity we
from the
need.
business level as well. This isn't just for
Yes.
moms at home or raising children.
No.
You can do this at work with your employees,
Please do this at
because
work.
you will actually increase, we call it your ROI of happiness, or CSR programs, because they will actually increase the amount of revenue you make for your business, because your employees will be happier. They will be more mentally healthy. They will be more physically healthy. So these
This
are
is
the simple
very, very
things
important.
we need to
Very important.
integrate into all aspects of our life,
Yes.
not just our home lives, but out into the world.
Having that empathy at work and giving, it's very, very important, because we never know what a person's going through.
Exactly.
Well, any final notes, Jacqueline, please? Yes, breathe.
I'm taking a big breath first. I'm taking the big breath first. Giving is truly something we can all do. It is something we can implement intentionally into our day. And when we come from that place of service, one day when you look back in your life, and your life could be tomorrow, or it could be 10 years from now, or a decade from now, you've left an impact, and you've done your part to leave the world a better place than when you came.
Thank you.
And that brings us the well-being in our world that we all wish for.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Jacqueline Way, all her contact information is right there on LinkedIn. We will also be putting all these up, and Jacqueline Way on YouTube again. I don't know if we'll hit 6 million, but it would be wonderful.
It would be.
I'll rejoice with you. And so thank you very much for your time, Jacqueline. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Well, thank you for having me. My honor.
Thank you.